Hi CBC Music, it's Alessia Cara, and these are 5 songs that changed my life. Back to Black by Amy Winehouse. This song specifically was extremely instrumental in just my love of songwriting, and also just understanding how music can really affect you in like a different way. You know, I was like a young girl, I didn't really have any experience with heartbreak in that way, but I felt everything that she was saying. And she wasn't even, you know, like technically doing any type of vocal acrobatics or hitting any crazy notes. You know, she had a very mid-range. It was just, the way she would use her voice was so incredible, and it just hit you like in the gut, you know? So she was one of the first voices I fell in love with, and that song particularly, it's just like, it hurts, but in like a good way, you know? Viva La Vida by Coldplay. So this song, I have a very vivid memory of seeing my mom in the living room. I had her arms out in the air and was just like spinning and like dancing, like with tears in her eyes at this song. And I was like, what? I remember being like, what? Why are you crying? Like, what's happening? My mom is an Italian immigrant. She moved away from her family when she was 18. She has nobody in Canada. And she always said this song just reminds her of Italy and being back home and being a kid. Something about it and the alchemy of the lyrics and the instrumental and everything about it just emotes something so strong. And you know, my mom is not a sensitive person, she's not a crier, so seeing how that song could just bring her to tears so intensely was really memorable for me. And every time I hear that song now, I think of my mom, which is really nice. Dreams by Fleetwood Mac. So Fleetwood Mac has become one of my favorite bands in the world. A friend of mine just said, hey, have you ever heard Fleetwood Mac? And I was like, no. So I looked them up and I stumbled on Dreams, and I remember putting that song on a loop. The second I heard it, I looped it. I just love the way they use simplicity in their music and how it's like so powerful. And I think Stevie Nicks was such an advocate and so ahead of her time on like women empowerment. I think finding her and that band at that early phase in my career was super helpful because it just reminded me of like why I do this, and she just inspired me to like be myself and be a little messy. Her hair was always kind of messy, and the women of the 70s were like, they kind of had this like grit to them that you know, was a little unconventional, and I kind of felt that way. Having people like that as idols going into a new career was really vital for me. So yeah, and that song is just like one of my favorite songs of all time. I think it's so beautiful, it's so simple. Come together right now over me. Come Together by the Beatles. That like initial instrumental is just so cool. Off the bat, just hearing that, it's so good. And that chorus is just such a good chorus. Come together. I mean, even before like I developed an extreme love for music and before I even developed an understanding that I wanted to do music, the Beatles were just like around, and so that they remind me so much of my childhood, but they also, you know, in and of themselves are just the most incredible band in the world. It reminds me of my dad, it reminds me of being a kid, but it's also, as an adult, just in my adult opinion, it's one of the greatest songs ever. The verses are just kind of gibberish, and if you listen to the lyrics, it is kind of gibberish. Like, I don't know what any of it means. To like toe jam football, like what is that? I don't know. But it feels good. It feels good to sing and it feels good to listen to. So, one of my favorites. Sitting in the morning sun, I'll be sitting when the evening comes. Sitting on the Dock of the Bay by Otis Redding. Otis Redding is one of my favorite voices in music of all time. He has one of the best voices ever, and it's so soothing. I feel so soothed by him, and there's something so warm. That was one of the last songs that he wrote before he passed away, and that like little whistle section was actually just a placeholder. I feel like there's something spiritual in that song too, especially because of how, you know, it never got to be finished and how he had since passed. Felt like it was like the thing that he left us. You know, it's such a beautiful song.